Welcome to the Globetrottin'ADs. This podcast is for you, athletic directors, activity coordinators, coaches, and program associates based in international schools around the world. The Globetrottin'ADs is proudly hosted by Nick DeForest from the American International School Vienna and Matt Fleming from the American International School of Budapest. Here they are now, Nick and Matt and the Globetrottin'ADs.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Globetrottin'ADs. We're into November. It's hard to believe the time has changed. In this part of the world, here we are in Europe. It's getting darker earlier. We're entering the tunnel into winter, so to speak. But it's all good. And today's episode, we're going to talk about what's all good because we have some really cool events that have taken place here in our area of the world for end-of-season events and how the fall season is going with sports happening in international schools. And Nick's got some cool updates he's going to share about trips they've actually taken crossing a border, which is very interesting and hopeful to hear about. So I'm glad we're able to talk about this stuff. So Nick, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for the intro. I'm a bit tired. As you just alluded to, I was on a trip myself this past weekend to Frankfurt. We'll get into that. It was fantastic right off the bat. But yeah, it's great to dive into like what was started to be a normal season, right, for all of us, or most normal season we've had in a while. And then things kind of change, especially in our neck of the woods as we've got now to the finish line.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster for us with planning and hoping and trying to get to tournaments in Vienna and then finding out we couldn't, but still getting some local competitions and kind of reflecting on the big picture to say it's all good because we're a heck of a lot further than we were a year ago at this time when we had nothing in terms of competitions or organizing tournaments. And, this stuff is great. It's icing on the cake, but I think considering where we are, I think we're pretty lucky compared to other folks in the world, other parts of the international school scene. And very happy that you guys are able to go over to a tournament in Germany and looking forward to hearing about all that and how it went.
Right. And like you said,
not just from you, but we also have some kids that are going to get some insights, which is cool.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I got some reflections from our kids on the train ride home that will piece into our chat right now. And it was a weird season. Like you said, you got to keep the perspective that we're thankful we are playing. Well, first, all practicing, all have teams, and because, like you said, it's not the case everywhere. But it was hard. Obviously, COVID restrictions, and we're dealing with that and trying to do everything we can. So there was an extra few layers of work to everything. But just the uncertainty, like scheduling games for me, thankfully we had a lot to play, but they always came late. That you couldn't schedule them in advance. There was always extra to do. Some cancellations last minute. Moving games around after you thought it was all ready. So it was hard work.
I mean, just a different type of season in terms of what you have to do to make things happen.
Right.
And it is a little bit more work, a little more complicated, I guess. Never dull, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like the work we do as ADs, like you always have to kind of be ready for a sudden change. And anyways, really, because that's how things go in our line of work. But this year with things being the way they are, just added another layer of complexity, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it was, overall, like I said before, we're pretty happy with the fact that we could get a chance to have competitions. We could actually have parents back on campus too to watch some of the games, as long as they were outdoors.
Sure.
That was the stipulation, but overall, we're pretty happy.
Right. I mean, a lot of smiling faces. It was missing last year. Kids were happy, even if it wasn't everything they could do or everything they normally do. They were more than they had in the past, right?
Yeah. And parents as well. We had a kind of a crazy week this week, last 2 weeks, I should say, with trying to organize some trips abroad. We really wanted to try to send our teams to a skis tournament in Munich, also some local Danube League in Vienna. We were hoping to send our team there. But then we had a kind of a government stoppage to our plans, which we weren't really had an idea about until it was announced last week. So it's kind of like a last minute change. But in the end, in terms of like happy faces and, I think understanding too, it was great to hear. I actually had quite a few emails. I would say probably about neighborhood of 10 emails or so from parents saying, thank you anyways. We understand the situation. We're just happy that we've had anything for these kids to have a season of sorts.
They knew it was out of your hands, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, you just alluded to some late cancellations, and that was one, I think, new thing is for so long we haven't had anything. So we haven't had to cancel anything, So last week I was also dealing with some cancellations. We had to cancel some local games, and a few kids couldn't go on the trips this weekend because they were close contacts. So it was hard because we haven't had to break kids' hearts in a while. They just didn't have anything to do, it's similar but different, and you just had to cancel trips. So how was that for you?
Yeah, it was tough because but also in a way is a blessing in disguise because we tried to do the best we could, and in the end, the thing that came down, which really ruled everything out, was out of our hands. There's nothing that we could have done about it anyways because it was a local Hungarian government requirement. So basically, what happens is if you're a school and you want to organize any trip abroad, crossing a border, it could be anything, then you have to seek permission from the Hungarian Ministry of Education.
Right.
So that just came out effective November 2nd, and we had just found out a couple of days before about this. So, and that's kind of how the way things go in your international school scene, where, the government says something, it comes out, and you just have to deal with it.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened to us. And the ruling was what they said was number one, don't travel. Try not to travel. If you don't have to travel, don't travel.
Sure.
Okay. Second thing was if you've already paid a bunch of money or you put deposits down and it's something where it's going to be a financial hardship of sorts to get that back, then that's a possibility you might get. You might.
Sure.
And then the third thing was everybody has to be vaccinated. So, all of those things coming into play made it very difficult for us because number two, with the second ruling was, we had no money put down. Luckily, because we had to go through reimbursing parents and going through all that rigmarole to figure out the money. So that just made things a little bit too tricky for us to try to make things happen here.
Sure.
Even just going to Vienna, which is usually a pretty easy trip to organize. It's only 3 hours away.
Well, I mean, we just have a bunch of new rules in Austria as well coming in, and it's going to be harder. I'll meet Monday morning and see if we're going to be able to keep things going. But it looks like it could be only vaccinated people, and it could just get harder from here. So I know we'll talk about the next seasons in a little bit, but just even what I have planned next week for some of the varsity teams we're just not sure. So it's the same as what you said, just
keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
And be ready for a sudden change. That's how it goes.
Yeah. And that, like we mentioned, that it was a whole lot easier when we just didn't have anything. Like last year we just, we're not traveling. We're not playing.
It was. And it's, I think this season running these gamut of emotions has been tough because you get excited. I get excited. I want the kids to be excited about the chance to go away to a tournament. The coaches are wanting to know what's going on, and parents are questioning and trying to answer as best I can. But there's still the buzz, right? You're trying to put something together. We're hoping we're going to a tournament, and then it gets axed, right? Yeah. So
that's the best. Those best questions, right? What do you think? What do you think's going to happen next week? What do you think they're going to announce next week? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
If I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't even be in this job, right?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah. And, we have things where they're going to announce new school rules on Thursdays that should then come into effect on Monday. So if new school rules are announced on Thursday, and we'd have to stop on Monday, but we have things planned for the weekend. So we're technically still allowed to do them, but should we do them? If we know on Monday they won't be allowed anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not the case yet, but that may be next week. And okay, so initially I'm thinking we do what we can while we can, but not everyone's going to see it that way.
Yeah, and the decisions on those events might, in the end, probably be out of your hands anyway, because it might come from up above.
Yeah, exactly.
So it would be on standby.
Exactly.
like, which is, again, that's the situation we're living in these days.
Well, you said you're not going to go to Vienna for those varsity. Correct. At VIS. You're going to go to VIS for some tournaments, and you're also going to come to AIS. So that's all canceled. Do you have anything to replace it?
Well, so we got lucky because the middle school season's been fairly robust here, because quite a few of the international schools in Budapest, there's about 4 or 5 of us, have pretty decent middle school things going on in terms of like middle school soccer, especially for the boys. Quite a few. So I was able to actually pick up a tournament and organize a tournament. Cool. And it all happened within less than a week's time, I think, in terms of getting everybody to commit and say, yes, we're coming. And we're lucky because of our facilities and what we can do that we could put it together. So it happened yesterday on Saturday, November 6th, and the atmosphere was fantastic. We had great weather out yesterday, and a lot of parents were able to come out and watch their kids play. And it was what I kept saying, we did a little closing ceremony at the end. And what I said at the end was, we're so happy that we can have this opportunity. We get people back on campus. We can get kids playing in tournaments and coaches coaching. And, we've got the concession stand is there.
Yeah, exactly.
The music, and I'm on the microphone making announcements like I love to do. So it was a lot of fun yesterday that we were able to put that together.
Oh, that's cool. Well, we're going to get to some clips from some people and talk about our trips. We mentioned Munich and Frankfurt. My daughter was on her first school trip.
All right.
She went to Munich, just came back last night and played soccer.
Hey.
You're a live guest in our studio right now, Lena. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Lena, welcome. Welcome to the Globetrottin'ADs. I think you're one of our first live guests we've had in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lena, we won't keep you long because I know you don't want to be here. But you just came back from the trip.
Yeah.
And you played. What was the best part of the tournament or the trip in general?
The best part was the bus rides. Honestly, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you do on the bus rides?
Well, we
fun?
played music, talked. Yeah.
Had a chance to hang out.
Exactly.
But you played soccer though, right?
Yes.
And that was okay?
Yes, that was also fun.
Okay, great.
How long of a bus ride is that up to Munich?
It was about 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good time. A lot of time to hang out, play games.
Exactly.
Do you think your season would have been a good one, even if you didn't have a tournament? Or did the tournament make the whole season for you?
No, I think it was really fun, the practices, and we had other games. So, yeah, it was fun.
Okay. Thanks, Lena. Okay,
thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Congratulations. Got to ask how they did. How'd it go? How'd the Knights do?
Yeah, well, her team wasn't so successful. They lost all their games, but she did tell me before that she had fun playing soccer as well. So,
yeah. And was that that's her first trip, right? Because she's just in the middle school. So
yeah, 7th grade. So last year there was no chance to go.
What a blast!
But let's listen to a couple more. I interviewed a few of the kids on the trip on the train ride home and asked the same question that I just asked Lena, and they got some nice answers as well. So let's listen to that and excuse the baby in the background. I really didn't even hear it live, but the recording it's not our baby.
It's out of your control when you're on a train ride.
Yep, exactly.
My name is Sean Tierney, and I play for AIS Vienna on the A team.
My name is Carl. I'm also playing on the A team for the Knights in Vienna in the AIS.
Perfect. And we're on a train right now. That's why it's a little loud coming home from a tournament. First school tournament in a couple years. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I also think it was really fun.
Okay, what was the best part about the whole trip so far?
The best part was probably like hanging out with your friends and interacting with all the other international schools.
Yeah, it was also probably a good, like, the matches were pretty fun to have, like, against some other schools.
And that's good. And we came in, or you guys came in the bottom, right? You didn't win a match, but that didn't matter?
No, because like all the other teams were very good about it, and they weren't like, oh, you're so bad. They were really good about it. So it was fun to like lose. And, like.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, it was not bad to lose.
Owen, AIS Vienna JV boys volleyball.
Arjan, AIS Vienna JV boys volleyball.
Right. Same team, so we're on the same trip back. Bit loud, but you just finished a whirlwind 8-hour train ride, a whole bunch of games. Now we're on the 8-hour back. What was the best part of the trip so far?
In my opinion, the best part was we get to actually travel since, because it's been how many, 2 or 3 years since we've been able to travel. We get the experience of actually competing, going against other teams, having the ability to actually compete and know what it's like to win and know what it's like to lose, and also to develop with taking a loss, taking a win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, just the opportunity to go out and also meet other athletes and students from other schools. It's a great opportunity. We got to talk to some of the other kids, and it was just all around really fun. And we got to play the game, so.
Yeah, you heard it from those boys too. They really like the travel. Obviously, they enjoyed the tournament as well. But I think that's what it is. But, middle school, high school kids, they're not trying to make the pros. They want to have fun and they want to have time with their friends, right?
Yeah, it's about creating memories, right? So that's what it's a huge part of our jobs, to make these things as smooth as possible so they can go and they don't have to worry about anything, but just go along and be with their friends and go to a competition and get that team spirit going and just have a great time. So it's about enhancing their overall educational experience, because they get to do these things and just have a good time. Like she said, like that's so many, and my kids said the same thing, the memories that they have, and other kids too. Like it's a big part of their educational experience when they come through our schools.
Yeah. And most of the people, they haven't been housed before, right? So we had a lot of 6th, 7th, 8th graders haven't been on a trip. Some high schoolers that were gone, they haven't been on a school trip because they just moved overseas, and now they're in a hotel. So I'm really also excited to get back to a housing experience where they can then not just meet people that they play against really fast in the middle of a game, but have that like deeper experience and really get to know other people.
Yeah, and that's the real bummer about the situation is those kids, they miss out on that chance to establish those connections and make those new friendships, because I know from my perspective, my own kids have had that, and they've kept contact with the kids they've housed, and we end up housing those kids when they come here. And it's real special. It's a really cool part of what we do.
Right. Well, because of the hotel, obviously the coaches were on duty a lot longer, and there's room checks and making sure that the kids go to bed, because if they're being housed, maybe there's the parent there, and it's a bit easier to tell. So I asked those same kids if they stayed up after curfew, and here's a couple funny answers.
Okay.
Did you stay up after later than you should have, or did you go to bed when you should have?
Well, me and Navy, we went to bed after you knocked on the door, we went to bed 10 minutes after.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just tired from all the games and the train ride.
For sure. Be honest.
Me and Andrew were 24 minutes after you knock at the door when ready to go in bed.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's a long day, right? Train and then playing. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you stay up later than curfew last night?
Nah, because I was tired.
Yeah, we had gotten up at 5 to get on the train, and then the 8-hour train ride. So no, we were super tired.
Okay. All right, so yeah, high school kids way too tired. Probably need a bit more sleep than the sugared up middle school kids. They mentioned the train ride and how long, and it was a tough one. So we went from Vienna to Frankfurt, 8-hour train trip, and then got off the train and played, and woke up and played and got back on the train. So 16 hours on the train.
That is a grind.
Yeah.
It's off to those kids for doing it, because that's a tough one. And then for you guys as the adults on the trip,
right,
chaperoning, then coaching,
right,
trying to strategize and get all that together for a competition. That's quite a feat. So
yeah.
well done, guys.
I think that the coaches, I just got brought in last minute and chaperone, so I could bounce around. I watched both, all the games, talked to some people, met some great people, and reconnected with others. So it was easy for me, but the actual coaches that then he said were on, it's hard. It's hard. So I definitely, want to say hats off to all the coaches from the schools. So the schools involved were
the host school did it. How's Will? Will did a good job of hosting it.
Will was awesome. Yeah, Will Moncrief was and his team. Lots of people in Frankfurt. They ran 2 great tournaments. We were there for JV boys volleyball and middle school boys soccer. And then Andy Orrell and the Munich International School community hosted, oh my goodness, middle school girls soccer, middle school tennis, middle school cross country, JV boys soccer, and JV girls volleyball, all at the same time. And the schools that were involved were Basel, ZIS, Zurich, my school, and Munich. And it was...
Well, huge hats off to those guys for, taking those things on and putting them together. And they're going to do it all again next week too, I think, because
right,
the high school varsity tournaments for the Skis League is next week. So.
Yeah, exactly. The 4 varsity volleyball, soccer, and then high school cross country are all next week at those same venues, split up. And it's that way. Maybe people are wondering, why didn't I host anything, or why didn't anyone else host anything? But we called them like a hub tournament, and that's where all those other schools could come with their own bus if they wanted, but one night in a hotel, so it wasn't too far. And that was the whole conversation of what happens. You're there a couple nights, more kids could get sick, maybe more contact, and there was actually one COVID case in the Munich group. Yeah, so it's going to happen, I think, anywhere. The numbers are on the rise, but we try to keep it as low impact as possible, I guess, with this hub concept. And most importantly, the kids were smiling and having fun and reconnecting. And man, it was great. It was great. I set up another future podcast for us, Matt, while I was in Frankfurt.
All right.
So, connecting all over the place. Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's go to commercial, and we'll come back, and we'll look forward to the next couple seasons.
Yeah, what's going to happen next? Coach Evaluator is the premier coach evaluation software for schools and athletic organizations and preferred coach evaluation solution of the NIAAA and the Positive Coaching Alliance. The system is completely customizable with an always growing evaluation template library for athletic directors to reference. There are not only evaluations for ADs to use, but also self-evaluations and parent-player evaluations of coaches. Learn more about digitizing and simplifying your coach evaluation process by visiting www.coachevaluator.com. Mention Globetrottin'ADs to receive a $200 discount on the yearly rate.
Kukri are a global multi-sport clothing brand specializing in providing the world's most prestigious schools with bespoke made and designed team uniforms for students of all standards and abilities. If you are frustrated by inconsistent colors, branding, costs, and sizing across your school's uniforms, then it's time to discuss an offering where every sport is available from softball to soccer for male and female athletes at rates to suit your budget. To find out how Kukri could elevate the apparel of your student athletes to a professional level, email the team at contact@kukrisports.com. A dedicated sales manager will offer you a quote today. Mention this ad and receive a special offer on your coach or PE staff order.
Well,
we hope we're starting basketball season in a week if the regulations don't change. Oh, and you're pretty excited. You haven't had any basketball last year, the last couple of years, right? So, what are you looking forward to most going forward?
To play my favorite sport in the entire world. I don't know. Basketball is just my happy place. It's like where I just feel at home.
Super. Adrian, are you going to play basketball too?
I'm not good enough at basketball, unfortunately, but third season, hopefully I can play tennis. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that was Owen again. He was one of our JV boys volleyball players, and you could tell he is pumped for basketball like so many people because there was no basketball last year. And Adrian, he's talking about tennis. There was no spring season last year at all. So, yeah, fingers crossed, I think, for us moving in the next couple of weeks so we can do those things. How's it looking for you in Budapest, Matt?
Well, I mean, of course, it's, it's situations different every week, so we'll see what happens in the end. But in terms of planning, we're just moving forward and trying to plan as best we can, going like we normally do in terms of registrations and getting everything set and ready to go. The practice calendar is set, spaces are set. I have all my coaches in place, me included, because I'm going to help out with the varsity girls basketball this year.
Oh, nice.
And we're planning to go forward and hoping for the best, and that we can at least continue on like we did in the fall season, get some local games, and have a regular season of sorts. So fingers crossed, we're going to go forward and do it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same with us, right? I mean, hopeful. I don't know, maybe we have to start later, not start the season in the next 2 weeks, but still worried, close contact sport, inside, not like volleyball or soccer, of course, that we just had. Yeah, I mean, week to week, just like we have been, right?
So we'll have to wait and see what happens, and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do. I don't know. I'm not really so hopeful right now, to be honest with you, the way things are going. But I think for the next few months, I think maybe after Christmas, basketball seasons is a long one, so there's time. But I just know if we could get through the whole fall, like we are, and then have to cancel right before basketball, that so many of our students will be so disappointed, because they haven't played school basketball in so long.
And they need it. There's, because all the sports we offer are different for everybody, for every body type, personality type. Like kids have just different reasons they like to do different sports. And some kids will do only a fall sport. Some kids will do a sport every season.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like we still have to have the space and the time to be able to offer these things for these guys, these kids. So I just hoping so bad that it's going to happen because they need it. They need that to know that they've got a schedule in place where they can go after school 2-3 times a week, play basketball, practice, be in that team setting, and just benefit from it because they love it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if we could just have practice or intramurals for a while, that would be fine. That would be fine. But to be in the gym and, sweat and shoot some hoops would be great. Maybe my hip's good enough for some basketball this winter. I don't know.
Yeah. You have any updates for us about your hip?
Yeah. I mean, it feels great. It does. I'm on the cross trainer. And I'm looking to do a 5K in January. I think that's my goal to run.
Right on.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, everybody doesn't know Nick actually had a hip replacement.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and I'm getting old, Matt. But everyone's telling me you're too young. You're too young. So it made me feel good. It makes me feel good anyway.
Yeah.
People thinking I'm young.
You've been too active.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's Sunday. And you had a long weekend of hosting. I didn't realize that was yesterday, and of course my train ride. So that's enough for our listeners and for us, I think.
Yeah. So if anybody out there has some more updates they want to share, if you're in a similar situation as we are in Europe, or if things are looking good on the horizon that you can share with us, let us know, and we'd love to check in and talk because I know everybody's in different situations all over the world, but. I'm feeling pretty good about where we are in Europe, and hopefully, like we said, for the winter season, we'll have a continuation. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, love it when people want to be on. Right, write us and let us know. That's happened a little bit the last month, and and we got some things in place. So that'd be great.
All right.
All right. Until next time.
All right, everybody, take care.
Until next week, this has been another episode of the Globetrottin' ADs.